What's this going to do? Okay. Are we live yet? Let's see. Hey, greetings everyone. Looks like I'm live right now. Okay, I'm kind of winging it today. Today's it's a bit of a busy day. Lots of things going on, lots of things happening this particular week. I will be heading back to Florida later this week, Wednesday actually. So I won't be doing any streaming or anything like that. Probably till probably while I am there. I might do a stream or so. So the big story is that we're me and my wife were moving to Thailand, and so we have a condo over there in Florida that we still need to pack up stuff and put things away into boxes. Most likely a U-Haul or something like that for a while, storage. Um, and everything was done really fast in terms of the purpose of moving and everything. So it's not like we have months to prepare or anything like that. Everything is being done quickly, quickly, quickly. So I'm kind of winging a lot of this as I go, and so we come to Thailand here where I am right now, and we look for a new condo, and so we found a promising place, and so we're going to see about maybe securing the deal tomorrow or something like that. Um, but we still have stuff in Florida to move, so we got to head back to Florida and start putting things into boxes and things like that. We don't have a whole lot of time, so for the time that we're there, we're just going to do as much as we can. So most likely and realistically, we're going to be going back and forth a while because there's just so many things, and we have to put the place up for sale or rent. We are still not too sure about that, leaning maybe towards selling. There's other issues going on. There's Dire Warriors to take care of and migrate that over here. Plus, over there too, there's some interesting things going on for Dire Warriors as well. So it's not like Dire Warriors is going to be floundering. It's not like that. It's we got other stuff going on with it, and it's just things are just moving fast. That's all, and it's a bit on the hectic side because it's moving so fast. Um, so what I'm doing today is trying to do multiple things, computer wise, backing up as much as I can, basically backing up everything. Um, I've been doing the backups regularly whenever I do a significant change on VSS project on this satellite platform type project and a few other things, the console from last week. I am, backing up everything, regularly. So I do have regular backups, but now I have to do the overall massive backup of everything that I have on my SSD card. Um, it's one of those, like I think it's just 1 terabyte SSD card. Moving that to a 2 terabyte drive, and then if I have time permitting, I will move. I will copy things from the 2 terabyte drive to a 4 terabyte drive, and so that way I have two backups. Certainly taking the SSD card with me because no moving parts, so I can stick it into my luggage, carry on things like that, and unless some serious damage happens, it should perform and it should be reliable. Um, I'm also got my second laptop, an older laptop with Windows 7 up and going side by side. And so that way I'm going to see if I can see any comments. In fact, I should probably get into my Facebook stuff. Huh? So if I'm going to see comments, I might as well refresh the screen and all that. And yeah, I got my Ravenclaw hat going. I'm really excited about Universal Studios Epic Universe. Yeah, there I am. Do I have any? Yes. So I got Windows 7 on that laptop, and I got Chrome. And of course, Chrome is complaining that the operating system is no longer supported. So it wants me to update. And when I go to update, it's no longer supported. And so it just stays on the download Chrome window. Oh, it says installation complete. It didn't tell me any progress at all. It just said downloading, downloading, downloading. It went on for like 30 minutes, just downloading, downloading. No progress on that. It's just showing the bar, just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so I just decided to leave it alone and see what happens. It says installation complete. Okay, but I don't want to install it over what I have right now because I'm looking for comments. Okay, so I want to keep that open. Um, I was never really a big person for doing like multiple monitors. So, like back in Florida, I have basically one large TV, basically 45-inch, and that's my monitor, and I can put multiple windows all around. There's no physical border separating one monitor from another. Here, though, in Bangkok, I don't know if that's going to be doable. It's a good TV, but most likely I will end up doing smaller, regular computer monitors, and then just do the multiple monitor setup like everybody else. And I like the TV one mostly because not to have any physical border separating one monitor from the other. So I'm going to end up having to do a multiple monitor setup. And let's see what else I could say. So so I leave on Wednesday, but tomorrow I most likely will have to also be out of the condo here in Bangkok because they're going to be doing some electrical work, and it's going to go on for several hours. And you know, Bangkok is one of those places where it can get hot, and especially if you don't have any AC, yeah, you're going to sweat real bad. It's like originally I'm from New Orleans, and over there it's hot and humid, and so it'll be like New Orleans weather without the AC, and so I don't want that. I don't want to experience that. So I'm going to have to most likely go to a coffee shop or something like that. So that's one reason why I got the Windows 7 laptop up, and not sure what I'm going to do with it because most of my work is here on this laptop. And so this is an Alienware, that's an HP. This is Windows 11, that's Windows 7. Um, I got the CAD stuff on here, and I don't, it's one of those. SolidWorks uses one of those models where it's kind of like a subscription, but at the same time, it's not. It's one of those where you well, it's not a subscription. It's not a subscription. Maybe they have a subscription based thing now on some of their flavors of SolidWorks. I'm not 100% sure, but the way this one is it's not a subscription. It's even though I treat it kind of like a yearly subscription because every year you have to upgrade, and the upgrade is not free. So you have to renew your upgrade, and you can skip a year or two, but as you skip, the cost of the upgrades begin to accumulate. So let's say what most people do, I was told, is that they'll skip 1 year, they'll renew the next, so they skip every other year, and it's still cheaper than buying the software. But after, let's say, two skippings, 2 years, on the third year, it's about almost as expensive as buying the software brand new. So it makes sense to just keep the registration going. So it's a registered product, okay, and that's most likely that's the terminology I want to use. So SolidWorks is registered, and the way, and they have, of course, they have multiple flavors, but the way mine is that it's registered on a per machine basis. So it's registered for this laptop. I can migrate this software to the Windows 7, but then I have to go through this juggle of of a procedure of telling the thing, going to log it into their particular website, and then telling the thing that I want to move it to this other laptop, then disable this laptop's registration, and then enable this other laptop's registration, something like that. The order may be off, but something like that. There's tutorials and stuff on how to do it properly and correctly, and the support is really good. I've never been in like regret of any of SolidWorks support. So it's a good product, and it's the main product that I use here. Just about for everything anyway. There's other things I can put on. For example, I do have some documents to update. There's stuff that I've been wanting to do concerning aliens and the Die Warriors Conspiracy Project, which has been on limbo for a while. That's part of that is because of backlogs from other people's stuff. So it's not anything from Die Warriors really. And but I do have other things I want to upkeep concerning that particular project. There's documentation I want to upkeep. There's my own personal documentation in terms of the prints and things that I want to keep a record of, especially now that we're going kind of international. And so I'm trying to keep everything streamlined as much as I can, rely on documentation, PDFs, things like that. And but so anyway, so tomorrow I should be out of the condo for a while. Most likely I'll end up going to our Starbucks or a mall or something like that. Not 100% sure. Okay, just trying. Oh, so I guess this is a nice chair I got over here, but I'm learning to use it. I've been having this chair for about a year. I just sit on it, but to adjust the angle, apparently I just discovered I can lock it into place. Like right now, it's at a particular angle. I can't like lean it forward, can't lean it back. So interesting. So I can lock the thing into an angle, so I don't have to always be adjusting or anything. Oh, interesting. I never knew that. Okay, so anyways, I'm also at the same time I am copying files right now to back up, and so you can't see that at the moment, but I am moving things around. The last thing I was doing is I'm waiting for a print. What you see on the screen right now is a sensor for one of the gun platform satellite projects. I'll show that in just a bit. But one thing that I want to do right now is copy the G code that I just made and copy here. Okay. And then tell the thing to eject the drive. Okay, cool. So, okay, I'm going to go start a print, but before I do that, let me just give you a little tour. So let's see. Yeah, I got wires everywhere. Just making sure that. Okay. So okay. I don't know if this Facebook will update, or do I have to update to see if there's any comments? Do I have to refresh the browser? I probably do. It is always nice when you're doing streams like what you see with the YouTube people, and they have like some moderator in the background to keep things flowing, so the streamer can focus on content rather than focus on updating the browser, refreshing here, refreshing there. Maybe one day, we'll see. But okay, so anyway, this is a sensor that I did. It's only 3 parts. The main body for it, tracking dome, which can be interchanged with some other sensor, and the peg that attaches it. And let me just go back to make sure I'm in the right. Let's see. Here's the weapon part for it. So this is a weapon. I like the way it looks. I want to be able to use it on other vehicles, and I still have to print the barrels here. I don't know if I'll have time to do that, or I have to wait till I come back. But this is it's a little weapon system I made for another project, and I like the way it looked. Actually, I made it for Cobra Deviant mech, and I like the way it came out looking. And so this part is it's basically all modular. I can show you here if I start to clean up some of these things. Okay, so here's the frame, but okay, so this is the main weapon system here. This part in blue. The idea is that it's got little connections here. That if you're a model maker or something and you want to add tubes, hoses, wires, things like that, you should be able to just find have little ports, little access points that you can just decorate the the prop, the system a bit more than just simply figuring out where to drill a hole. Same thing with this. You should be able to just put a wire or put a hose or something inside here. So I have these little details set up, and it's got ports for adding additional content. These things here, you can add something else. A battery pack, capacitor, some sort of e-cell if this is a laser type weapon. If it's an ammo, something that shoots ammo, perhaps you could have some other item attached to it, an ammo drum, that kind of thing. So you'll see these little oval like ports for adding additional content. Same thing for how this is attached up here. Um, you can mount other stuff, devices, sensors, other things on top of this. And so it can pivot and I'll show you the next piece. Will be the next good one to show. Oh, okay, here. Let's do this one. This one is an update. Since arriving in Bangkok, I've updated this one. And I'm still working on some RCS thrusters for it. Rebuild. Yeah, ignore any errors you see. I've been working on things, so ignore any errors you see. There's some errors here. Oh yeah, I know what the errors are. Is that the section you see in blue? When I printed it here, maybe it's because of the humidity, maybe in the air. Not 100% sure. I'll have to compare it with what I have printed in Florida. But I needed to tighten up the parts so they fit tighter. So I expanded um, the spacing between the weapon and this part in blue. And it came out perfect. I mean, it really came out perfect. But in this particular model, I have to update the model itself to show that the way it's connecting has been updated. So that's what those errors here are indicating, that the blue has been updated and the way it connects to the weapon has not been updated. And so it's finding a little conflict on missing information. And so it's not like a design flaw, it's just missing information. I bet you if I move this right now, the weapon will go off in one direction while this thing here pivots in another. Yeah, you see that? Okay. Maybe I could do a quick little fix up. Let's see. Yeah, see missing face? That's the missing information. So if I just select a face here, will it fix it? It may. Okay, so now the other side most likely is going to be the same thing. Edit feature. Missing face, select it. Okay. There were it showed me 4 errors, but okay, so one error had spawned a second error. By fixing one of those errors, the other one got the other error got fixed. So okay, I should be able to move this. Yeah, good. Okay, so let me go ahead and save that. Rebuild and save. So let me talk a little bit more about this particular build. I kind of just ran out of time, and I'll tell you why. Uh, I've been working on this. This is one of the conspiracy, the Dire Warriors conspiracy projects, and there's several vehicles and several other prop things that I'm doing under the conspiracy label, and this is one of them. The idea on the conspiracy one is concerning aliens and spaceships and things like that. So, astronauts and aliens and spaceships and other things like that. And this is one of those projects on that particular theme. Um, in working with this one, I've been updating little things like the RCS thrusters here. I don't like the way they came out, how they really look. So I'm going to go back to the drawing board and kind of streamline them. So I want to redo this section that you see here with these thruster bells and things, make it more streamlined. Um, but that's how the first version looked. The other thing is this section here with these cylinders. Okay, the cylinders are okay. It's just that this part here, this dome part, it prints well, but in working with this part here that you see, I, this section here that I'm moving the mouse over is a separate part. And then this section here that I'm moving the mouse over is also another part. However, this dome piece, all this is one part. This where I'm moving the mouse over, this dome, it prints as one. And even though it prints well, when I went to paint it, it's like, okay, well, this part that was printed separately was easier to paint. I could spray paint it, for example, easily with some, let's say, some silver or a gray, and then do some other silver. In other words, it was very easy to handle. Okay, this one here, I can spray paint it also, but I would have to use like some tape masking the thing off. And I was thinking like, what I can do is basically I can make a hole here in this dome, make this piece insert into this hole as a separate piece, so it'll be two parts, and that would make it a little bit easier, I think, for the customer to paint it and to handle it. And so then I was thinking, okay, I have to go back to the drawing board a little bit just to design the whole part, which won't take a lot of time. But I'm leaving in a few days. So there's no time to really go back and print out a whole bunch of items. The original idea was I was going to print a bunch of these things in parts, take these parts back with me to Florida, bag them up, print out the instruction booklets and things like that, basically label them, make them into a nice little uh, product for shipping right away, and then put them on the Dire Warrior store. Then two problems with that. I'm not going to be in Florida for that long, so if an order comes in, I'll be able to ship it right away. But let's say I start to prepare to start leaving from Florida to come back to Thailand, and I get an order at the last minute. It's going to be just hectic to put things, go to the post office and all that. So instead of hectic, I was thinking of just waiting till I come back and basically do everything. So now I'm thinking like, okay, well, when I'm there in Florida, I'm going to have to see about take photos of the type of printer we have over there, see about getting the printer over here. Um, Perhaps I could print out the labels and things like that first. Perhaps I could just take um, one of these things and then bag it up and see how big the bags that would be necessary. Basically, run a quick little prototype of the shipping of these things, and then just bring it back, and then get all the stuff that I need over here and just ship it from over here. Something like that, anyway. But there's no time because I still need to work on this RCS thruster piece. Um, I need to also work on doing a better looking hose. This piece here, yeah, it's a temporary piece. I just wanted to see how I could get a hose hooked up. and I had a connection that was hooking up to here first, but now that connection is now moved to here. That's the connection for it. So I have to go back to the drawing board and make another hose to connect from there to there, and or perhaps I could make a piece that could, there's so many different possibilities. But it's almost done. It's almost ready for selling, and this is a very nice model to to customize and do. I mean, I really like this weapon. I like the sensor has come out very good. I'm talking about the one in Florida. I still have to print the sensor here, and I'm going to do that in a little bit. This dome piece came out really nice here. The weapons themselves came out really nice. I'm using a different filament from the same brand that I use over in the States, but I'm using a different formulation of their filament. It's a little bit softer. It's easier to sand and to make smooth. So unlike your standard 3D printed part that's going to have a lot of layer lines, and it just gets difficult, and that's why a lot of people just don't bother with trying to get rid of the layer lines. Regular PLA, for example, it's very difficult to really get those layer lines out. So people try to take other alternatives, like on larger models, like an Iron Man mask or so. They'll use like Bondo or some other piece to place onto the 3D print and then sand that down, because it's easier to work with Bondo than it is to sand PLA. Um, but when you're dealing with 1/18 scale or even 1/12 scale, things get harder to sand down and not lose details. So uh, I'm just checking to see if I've got any. Okay. So so there's two solutions that I use, and both of them are with filaments. But I'm trying out this other filament. It's a little bit softer. It's a newer formulation, and but I think it's working out pretty well. I got a piece right here in front of me. Let me switch back to StreamYard, and I can show what I'm talking about. So this piece here, haven't really sanded this area, but I've been sanding this one with just a little diamond file. And it's, I don't know, you can see it, you can see my hand more, but so this piece is very, very nice. I know the camera's coming in kind of blurry, but uh, there, finally. Um, so it's I still have to sand it some more to make it nicer, but right now to the touch, it's fine. I move my fingernail. I don't feel any layer lines, um, even though you can see some stuff here. So I need to sand that. Also, when I paint it, the paint itself is going to thicken it up. Plus, one thing that I've been doing on my prints and stuff is working with some modeling tools. Let me show one. Here, Mr. Surfacer, or Mr. Finishing Surfacer in this case. Mr. Surfacer, it's from a brand from Mr. Hobby, and they do things like Mr. Color. and other things like that. They do some very high quality paints, especially lacquer paints. And although PLA will handle acrylic paints well, it'll handle enamel paints well. I think the best thing for 3D prints is actually lacquer paints. So something like Mr. Surfacer is something. It's almost like a primer, but instead of priming for painting, it's priming for smoothing. And the way it works the same way as sandpaper. There's a like a grit. This 1500. I believe the lower the number, the more coarse the the filler, I guess you could say, is. When you want to go even smoother, you go up to the higher levels. I don't know how high these numbers go, but I do have a 500, and I have 1,000, and now this one's 1,500. Um, but the way it works is you spray it on, or you could apply a brush. There's brush versions. You apply it on, wait for it to dry, and it dries quickly, and then you sand it down. And if you need to, you keep applying more and more, and you sand down, and you repeat the process. So that's, and they have different colors. This one's gray, but the result is actually pretty good. I'm working on this piece, but this is a print here. Uh, yeah, nothing is glued on 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 this yet, except for, well, no, not even that. So nothing is glued on this. I have to be careful, nothing's going to fall. But so this is the sensor dome or radar dome, and you can see that the gray is a little bit different than the gray from here. This is the raw print. This is with a surfacer, Mr. Surfacer. This is also Mr. Surfacer, and but it comes out very, very nice. I could sand it down even more, apply uh, less coarse surfacing material, sand it down even more. You can get the thing extremely, extremely smooth. And there's other tools too that I don't have access to here yet. Uh, a little Dremel, for example, I don't have access here. I'm gonna put this on back to what it was. So what I'm getting at, in a way, is there's a lot of, I got several things to say, really. There's a lot of tools out there when you're dealing with 3D prints. Use the same tools as the fine scale model makers do. Okay. Uh, Go to their YouTube channels, for example, look at their techniques on paints and the tools that they use to smooth, to sand, because those same tools will apply very well to a 3D printed model, whether it's resin or even something like PLA. Lacquer paints will adhere very well to the PLA paints. Other tools like Mr. Surfacer, for example, will apply well. You could also use the Tamiya putty, contour putty. I'm not sure what Tamiya calls it. Testers has a contour putty. My favorite is the Squadron green putty, and those, when they dry very, very hard, especially the Squadron green putty, extremely hard, but very good for sanding and buffing and making smooth. Basically, any flaws in a 3D print can be covered up, and including layer lines are not a flaw, but layer lines can be covered up also. And So it is possible to use the putty to smooth. And simple tools, the diamond tip, or not diamond tip, diamond coated files. They work extremely well. I think better than using a regular iron file for 3D prints. Let me go back to the model here. So that's what this. So anyway, moving on. There's additional ports here for additional hoses, things like that. These things here. Something I most likely will end up changing. I still have to see how it's going to work in the physical model. But this hose here, I think I'm going to get rid of and put a port so that when I do have a hose, it may just go in a different shape, a different route, or maybe it'll be a flexible thing. I'm not 100% sure. The reason why I'm thinking of getting rid of it, it's not because of anything in this particular CAD design, but only because it's a little bit challenging for 3D print. There's a lot of overhang in the middle, and it prints where this part here is up and this part here is down. This is all part of it. This over there. So so all this in blue is one part, and so on the 3D print, it's a little challenging. So to make it easier for me, I'm thinking of just separating this hose into a separate part. But I'm not quite sure if I'll keep it as a separate part or if I'll change it change the direction of it, or just leave it out completely. I'm not 100% sure. Um, but as I was putting this together the other day, I was doing some more testing, and I think there is, at least electronically, yeah, it does show a bit of an impact, a collision right there. And I do have to confirm if it's actually going to collide in the physical model. I think it will. And if not here, I think it will here. So, like right now, you can see it's eating through, colliding in. So that's another reason I'm thinking of eliminating that hose and finding another solution. So it's two reasons against it. Other little ideas is that you don't see it in this particular model, but what I intend to do is to kind of remove this piece and to have it so there's interior greebles that you could have a hose or wires or something coming down and going into uh, the mechanics that's inside the turret. And I think I can show you in another. Let me save that. Every time you move a part, you're not editing the part, but you're editing the assembly, and this is the assembly. So it wants to always treat it as an edit. So it wants you to save. Let's see. There is another quick little file to show. I'm looking at thumbnails. Oh, okay. Here's some greebles. But where's the part? I guess it's under an assembly. Let me scroll all the way up again. Take a look at the assembly. Maybe it's here. Let me take a quick look at this and see. Okay, yeah, but there's, ignore these things here that's in blue. You can see the greebles inside. So there's areas here that can accept hoses and such tubings, tubes, tubings, and you could have them, snake out from the turret itself to other areas, just for, if you want to have, some additional eye candy. I've been wanting to add that type of choice for you in there. So, if you don't want to see a greebles, that could be covered up easily. But if you do want to see some mechanics in there, perhaps you want to use this in a scene where someone is accessing for maintenance the interior of the turret, or you just want to do a nice looking, very worn, weathered turret sitting on some Martian landscape, getting all dusty and everything. You know, to have some additional eye candies, to have some greebles with stuff coming out of it, connecting to other greebles. So that's what this is for. The underside of this, again, I may change these landing pads. I am working on another idea to change the overall aesthetic to the landing pads. I just haven't gotten around to finishing the idea yet. But these landing pads are pretty good. They do, you know, pivot, so they can angle. I do have another idea for it as well. So, as I work on this thing, I keep doing some improvements, but it's all getting closer to finishing and getting ready for selling on the store. And you know, there's even more greebles down here. So even though most likely this is not going to be seen unless someone's looking underneath, it's a very small area that you can see some greebles, even inside here, a little bit of greeble. So that's this idea, and I have other ideas for this particular satellite. I don't know what else to call it. It's a gun turret. It's a platform, a weapon platform, and unfortunately, I think Facebook panicked a few weeks ago and came across a word that I use to describe this, because it is a military looking model. So I used appropriate words, and you know, Facebook algorithm panicked with it. So I don't know. Maybe YouTube is also going to panic with it. I don't know. It's a model kit, okay? This is not a real workable platform. 1/18 scale. Okay, so these ports here, they're just for expanded use, future use. They could be, other things can be added onto it. Uh, so this is a model kit that has a lot of future plans for it. It can be expanded. It's kind of modular. Um, I'm experimenting with a larger version, and I am also intending to print some 1/12 scale versions of this. I don't want to keep those 1/12 scales in my possession, because it'll be taking up a lot of space. So those 112 scale stuff might be as a pre-order or something, so that way I can just manufacture the amount that's needed. Maybe have a couple left over for anyone who was on the fence about pre-ordering and then change their mind once they see the things shipping. Um, the weapon systems themselves. Let me show some of that. Go back here. Need to. So here's a version of the weapon system with my voice with some missile pods. These are just simple missile pods that I had on hand, and they could be. Actually, I would like to make them into a little bit larger, and most likely a different shape. But this gives you an idea. You can also add additional weapons on top, uh, other missiles, other kinds of stuff, other kinds of gear, communications gear, other weapons, projectile, perhaps laser weapons, other things on there. There's just so many things you could add to this particular system. There's a version of this, save all. There's a version of this platform that is just for communications. It has some weapons, but it's mostly for communication. Um, there's a mobile version, a walker version. Also, I'm not ready to show that, but there's so many different variations of it that can be done. Yeah, ignore errors on this thing. So here's another that has some more of those missile pods. Yeah, this part here, you can see that right here. It's uh, it's a little greeble piece that I think I'm going to include as a standard, mostly because it kind of looks better with it on. I'll have to do a version of the assembly showing how the that piece looks. But yeah, without that greeble piece, that's how it's going to be here. But it's it actually has some visual eye candy aspects to it, and so I most likely will add it on as a permanent thing. Let's see what else can I show of this. Oh yeah, another version of the weapon side. With some air cooled projectile weapons here, machine guns. Something like this, I can replace this barrel and make something look a bit more laser. And so there's a lot of potential, a lot of ideas that can be done to extend this. Save all. So yeah, there's a lot to show, and it's like really good, really good potential here. And I want to get this thing out into the wild. So when I come back from the U.S. back to here, this will be priority for me to finish up all of this and get it ready, and so I can put it onto the store. There's also some store issues that I would like to discuss. Maybe not so much detail right now because it's kind of boring, but I do have to see about testing the waters on shipping things from here to the States and elsewhere. And so there might be the need for a guinea pig or two. Most likely it'll be just people on the Die Warriors team. I'll send things to and see how long they get it, how much the cost is, all that stuff. If there was any hassle on their end. Um, I also need to look into other things, like shipping through EMS or shipping through DHL. Um, I think FedEx costs an arm and a leg. UPS also costs too much, I think. But I mean, gosh, there's folks in Hong Kong that we order from, figures and things, and they arrive in DHL. Maybe DHL has some cheaper alternatives. When I order things from Japan, from HobbyLink Japan, for example, I usually always get it in EMS, and so looking into that. Um, Both are easy access here, DHL and EMS. So I'll have to look into that. I wanted to show some more items. I think I do want to the satellite systems. I don't know. I don't really have any particular. Maybe I'll show the VSS. Oh no, yeah, maybe I'll show the VSS. There. Should I? Yeah, no. Well, let's see. Let me go back to weapons. Instead of weapons. Hmm. Maybe I should go to vehicles. I haven't opened any of these files in a while, so I wonder if what I open will be broken. Yeah, I'm getting kind of lost here. Uh, I don't even think some of these are ready for showing. Some of these I just have as incomplete. Yeah, that's incomplete. Mm, well, maybe this is topics. These are topics for later. Perhaps this would be a topic to stream from Florida. Yeah, the folder is empty. Why is the folder empty? Finally. That's worrisome. What happened to my folder? Some of these things make me wonder if I did a backup and then I stopped the backup and then I made a, how would I say? Sometimes what happens is I'm making a backup from my main stuff. Okay, like in the U.S., we Die Warriors has a cloud, a personal cloud, and we save our files for Die Warriors on this cloud. And whenever there's significant need, first of all, I do a weekly backup from that cloud. And then whenever we, like for example, if I'm going to travel, I do a major backup and I back up everything, and those everythings go onto other drives. And coming to here, okay, on this particular trip 3 months ago, leaving Florida, I went ahead and did a backup. It takes time. We have when you're talking everything about Dive Warriors, from the CAD stuff to websites to everything. We have a lot of information that takes hours to back up. And I'm not talking just wireless or something. I'm talking through an Ethernet. It's it's not slow. My system is not slow. I do have a fast network and everything, but it still takes time. And so sometimes I am working, doing things all day. And then at night, I'm like, oh, I need to go ahead and do a backup. So I start the process. One thing or another happens. Okay. Like, for example, bought an 8 terabyte drive. Also, yeah, an 8 terabyte drive. So plug it in. And I'm doing I'm just copying everything, drag and drop onto the drive. So it comes up and tells me so many hours it'll take. So okay, well, I'll go just let the machines stay up all night, and I'll just go to sleep. The next day I come back and something went on. Windows goes into like a save power mode or something on that USB plug. Uh, Basically, Windows thought that I was not using that USB device, or it was using too much power. I'm not quite sure what, but it shuts it off. And I'm thinking, like, well, maybe there's like a long process where it's doing some processing to move the files over, and it's doing some processing, and there's no activity or very little activity or something like that. And so Windows thinks, or maybe another part of Windows is thinking, okay, this device is just using too much power, or has been hogging too much activity or something. We're going to go into a save power mode on that particular USB device or plug or something. And so it disconnects it. And then so the next day, I wake up and I go to check on the progress, and there's a message sometimes saying that there was an incomplete process, or that there's no message at all, and I think everything is done. And then when I start to investigate, it's like, there's missing folders here. How come? Or there's folders, but there's no files. They're just folders. So, you know, so long story is that right now I'm looking at this particular folder and I'm thinking, like, okay, how come there's some folders that have no files? Usually I don't make a folder and I just leave it as is. I usually put things into that folder right away. So now it has me thinking that perhaps this particular backup that I'm using, okay, as my primary source right now, perhaps it actually doesn't have all the files, you know, or something like that. I'm investigating right now, taking a look at other things. Fortunately, I do have backup after backup after backup. So what I'm going to have to do tonight, is take out the older stuff, maybe the older cloud, the original cloud, and compare the original cloud with what I have here just to verify. It never ends, you know. Okay, I wanted to show some other projects that I was working on, older stuff, but I suppose I'm not ready for it. So I'll have to leave it till Either I'm over there in Florida to do another stream, or or when I come back. In any case, I need to verify those files. Okay. Oh, that reminds me, I forgot, but how is the audio on this thing? I'm using this other microphone. It's an omnidirectional thing, and so if there's any hissing noise in the background, it's probably the exhaust from this laptop. And I've completely forgot to move the microphone away from that. That's another thing I need to do over there in the US, is to see about getting some proper microphone tripod type stuff. It'll be cheaper to purchase it over there and just bring it with me in the luggage. Um, it'll be cheaper than trying to buy one here, because here, there's things like, import duties and things like that. So things are not necessarily cheaper here, unless of course it's from other countries that have a more favorable treaty. But anyway, well, I think this is going to be, it's about a little bit more than an hour. So I think this is going to be the ending of this particular stream. I mostly just wanted to touch base with everyone and give everyone a little heads up on what's coming down the road. This thing is coming down the road. This new model that I've been working on, and I may do the Walker version, more of a mech version of it. We'll see how that's going to look. I've been getting some better ideas, and better ideas in terms of the articulation for such a thing too. So there's a lot more going on than just simply doing CAD and these designs. So that's it basically for now. I just wanted to touch base with everyone, give everyone a heads up on what's going on, and yeah, that's about it. So okay, the next time I do a stream, it may be in the U.S. and most likely it'll be maybe next week, and I'll have another update then, and we'll see how things go after that. It's going to get more hectic and more crazy. So, and then of course comes the actual move part, and then moving everything to the new location, the new office, I suppose, which will double as a factory. So, some good things coming down the road for Dire Warriors. Okay. Thank you for joining me, everyone. And you all have a great day.